Good morning, everybody. This is Mikael from Healthwise Enterprise. The health food store is located at 3807 East 8 Mile Road, about 3 blocks west of Ryan, between Ryan and DeQuinta. And we're there to service you Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7. And you can reach us directly at the store at 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438. Our old number still works, 313-366-DIET. And you can reach me directly at 313-600-8532. Leave a message or preferably text, because I get so many messages. I like text because you can get right to the point. However, I still love talking to folks. And sleep deprivation is so important. And it's just one of the things that shortens the lifespan. And it's something that we can do ourselves. Today I want to talk about zinc deficiency and how it affects actually our life. Okay, I put these two vitamins up here, zinc and vitamin B12, because vegetarians don't get enough of either one of them. Okay, but the discussion is on zinc today and how it affects our gut, and how gluten is so detrimental to our health. Not everybody is gluten intolerant, but so many people are, and there's different symptoms and that your body will give you if you are gluten intolerant. What blew me away was that gluten is so detrimental, it can destroy your villi, which is like the finger-like substance in your small intestines, where your absorption is at. Well, the gluten can destroy that area, so that makes all the vitamins and minerals that you take is useless because the villi is destroyed by the gluten. So no matter how many vitamins and minerals or other nutrients you take, even your food, the absorption rate is zip. Now it takes for young folks 3 to 6 months to rebuild that villi, and for the older folks, it can take up to 2 years to rebuild that villi. The gluten is no joke, But zinc deficiencies is by McCullough. He's a doctor. I'm not a doctor, lawyer, nutritionist, or dietitianist. I just study a lot, share a lot, encourage a lot, because it says in the Bible, people will perish from a lack of knowledge. So we at Healthwise, we study a lot and we share a lot, and hopefully that you get the information and share it with other folks in our community, or each one teach one. It makes such a big difference in our lives, and those are our family lives. Even though enemies may become your friends because you saved their life with just some information about taking zinc on a markedly consistent basis. The initial sign, almost a way to detect gluten sensitivity as well as celiac disease, is to check for zinc deficiencies. Okay. Studies is some of the key points from Dr. McCullough. Study shows that while several micronutrients were low in each patient's newly diagnosed with celiac disease, zinc deficiencies eclipsed them all, and among the 309 people, over 59% of the patients were found to be zinc deficient. Classic symptoms of gluten sensitivity often includes diarrhea, fatigue, anemia, weight loss, and other problems. Okay, that's the gluten sensitivity. Celiac disease, also known as gluten sensitivity, enteropathia, is the result of an immune reaction that takes place when genetically susceptible people ingest gluten, a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And for the vegetarians, is also found in, let me see if I can find this in my notes real quick. Is also found in hydrolyzed vegetable protein and tenderized vegetable protein. Okay. That one was a new one for me. Celiac disease also so celiac disease, also known as gluten sensitive enteropathia, is the result of an immune reaction that can take place when genetically acceptable ingested gluten, a protein found in wheat and barley, rye, oats. Gluten sensitivity attacks the mucoid mucosa in your gut, which leads to inflammation. Over time, the inflammation wears away tiny molecules called villi in the small intestines lining, a condition known as villus atomia at Bropa. Excuse me, I'm just do my best to try to pronounce these words, but hopefully you get it. At Rope, I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay. Now, this condition known as various aroping. Now, that occurs when your intestines villi, the microscopic lining, like tentacles that line the wall of your small intestines, they can erode away, leaving a virtually flat surface. When it's a flat surface in your small intestines, the food, the vitamins, minerals is not being absorbed. And if it's not being absorbed, then your system constantly gets weaker, your immune system is weak, and you're subject to all kind of different diseases. So how long does it take to bring it back, to grow back? 3 to 6 months. But if you're older, it may take up to 2 years. At the time of diagnosis with celiac disease, a micronutrient assessment, particularly on zinc, vitamin D3, iron, folate, vitamin B12, and copper should be taken, as those seem to go hand in hand with the condition. Yes, vitamin B12, let me the other way. Okay, and the zinc. I particularly like this company because when they make their products, they also add the trace minerals to it, which helps with the absorption of the vitamin or the minerals that they're offering in the bottle. They have little measurements on it, so usually 1 milliliter is what you take. The liquid, if you put it up under your tongue, the absorption rate is instantly, because there's ducts underneath your tongue that takes it right into your blood system. So you don't have to rely off uh, if your small intestines, if the feli is gone. Okay, that's just another way of absorbing the nutrients until your feli is rebuilt. Okay, scientists have been researching several aspects of celiac diseases for decades, but in recent years, studies have revealed that adults with specific vitamins and mineral deficiencies, particularly low levels of zinc, are associated with gluten intolerance and the more serious forms known as celiac disease. Gluten is horrible. Gluten, first of all, is a Latin word for glue. Well, they knew they couldn't call it glue, okay, because people know what gluten is, but glue is, but it's gluten, which is, like I say, is a Latin word, a French word, which means glue. You I remember one time I was at my brother's house and he had some Wonder Bread. I took one of the pieces of bread out, balled it up, and started bouncing it off the wall. He said, "Man, what you doing with my food?" I said, "You eating this rubber, this?" Okay. In the Bible, they talk about bread and water. But that bread 2,000 years ago, when you ball it up, it crumbles like a cracker because it had 20 grams of fiber in it. This bread nowadays may have 1 gram, if that. And if you look for the bread, you're gonna look for the grams, 6 or 7. You doing good. But they are gluten-free breads. It doesn't have that taste because it don't have that glue flavor to it. But you can add butter and you can sprinkle a little real salt on it, and your bread is real good. Okay. Celiac disease, aka gluten sensitive enteropathy, is the result of the immune reaction that takes place when generally susceptible people ingest gluten, a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, oats, and that we just found out is the hydrolyzed and tenderized vegetable protein. According to a study published in the Journal of Mayo Clinic Proceedings, and here he names that study, 1 in 144 people in the U.S. reportedly suffer from this condition. So that's a pretty good odds, 1 out of 141. So luckily you may not be one of those. And its prevalence has increased over the past 50 years. So it's more now than 1 out of 141. Classic symptoms often include diarrhea, fatigue, just tired, anemia, weight loss, and other problems. But they finding out that even the weight loss may not be a symptom that you can tell. One of the first directive doctors given, one of the first directive doctors give their patients is to explore going on in the gluten-free diet. The researchers at the Mayo Clinic Journal article studied 309 men and women between January the 1st, 2000 and October the 21st, 2014, with an average age of just over 46, plus or minus 15 years. All have been tested and newly diagnosed with celiac. The featured studies show that among the celiac patients, age, sex, and body mass index and other factors were considered along with individual symptoms. But weight loss was a factor in only 25% of the cases. But most importantly, while several of the noted micronutrients were low in each patient, the zinc deficiency eclipsed them all. In fact, over 59% of the patients were found to be zinc deficient, and to varying but lesser degrees. Deficiencies in the other nutrients included copper. Dr. Adam Bressel, a gastroenterologist fellow at Mayo Clinic Rochester campus and lead author of the study, noted in the Mayo Clinic news release, quote, "It was somewhat surprising to see the frequency of micronutrient deficiencies in this group of newly diagnosed patients, given that there were presently fewer symptoms of malabsorption. One study suggests that the presentation of celiac disease has changed from the classic weight loss, anemia, and diarrhea, with increased number of patients diagnosed with non-classic symptoms." The author concluded that at the time people are diagnosed with celiac disease, a micronutrient assessment, particularly on vitamin D3, iron, folic acid, and vitamin B12, should take place, as those seem to go hand in hand with the condition. So that's one reason I like the Ultimate Classic, because it has these in there. The only thing about the Ultimate Classic that to me it doesn't have is enough vitamin D3. So that's one reason we have it at Healthwise, because you can get that 5,000 IUs per pill and suggest you take 2 a day, because it's a whole lot easier to prevent a disease than get it and trying to get rid of it. And since this is a rising condition, gluten intolerance, we don't want to take the chance of having that condition. Scientists were intrigued by the symptoms, such as fewer signs of malabsorption that had been previously in celiac patients in the past. On average, the subjects were also found to be overweight rather than exhibiting low body weight, and weight loss commonly characteristic as the symptoms. The celiac disease is usually people's underweight, but now it's people that's overweight can have that condition. Gluten sensitivity attacked the mucosa in your gut, which is like the friendly bacteria, which leads to inflammation. Over time, the inflammation wears away tiny molecules called villi in the small intestine's lining, a condition known as virus entopia at Rompi. Okay, which prevents the absorption of zinc as well as other nutrients critical for your health. It's when the villi is wiped away, you in position for diseases. Very Well Health details the implications as, quote, Various at- atopy occurs when your intestinal villi, the microscope, finger-like tentacles that line the wall of your small intestines, erode away, leaving a virtually flat surface. Since your intestinal villi are responsible for absorbing the nutrients contained in your food you eat, losing them to this condition called various atopy can result in serious nutritional deficiencies. However, not every case of various atopy stems from celiac disease, nor does a wheat allergy. A disorder known as non-celiac gluten sensitivity, ECGS, reportedly affects an estimated 6% of the people in the United States. Sometimes involves similar symptoms such as irritable bowel symptoms or problems resulting from harmful bacteria, H. pylori bacteria in particular. However, celiac disease can lead to other serious disorders and diseases such as infertility, neurological disorders, messing with your brain, other autoimmune diseases, reduced bone density, and even cancer. Yeah, that's the gluten foods. Wear your body down, and you be subject to diseases, even including cancer. Yeah, the wheat, the rye, the barley, the oat, the tenderized, what they call it, hydrolyzed and tenderized vegetable protein. People's like, well, cancer takes like 10 years to develop in your body. The thing that struck me is how these conditions are subtle, and you don't realize it till people diagnosed with cancer. This here is a great step in preventing that disease even developing in your body. That's what intrigued me about this article. Now, here's a note from 2016 study. Interesting. The interest of patients and physicians in celiac disease is growing worldwide, but without a corresponding increase in awareness of the disease. Many patients are diagnosed as celiac even without completing the whole diagnosis process, with consequent risks of misdiagnosis and delay in evaluation of other diseases. It seems like a small thing, but like I tell my folks, you ever been bit by an elephant? And everybody asked that question. They said no. You ever been bit by a mosquito? And everybody asked that question. Yes. It's the small things that get you. Additional studies on gluten sensitivity. Advance in Nutrition outlined the first case of zinc deficiency in the U.S. in the year 1969. The 21-year-old patient suffered from hypoglycemia, which prevent the immune system from making enough antibodies. There's another condition which is a testosterone deficiency, Another condition was the diarrhea disease from microscopic parasites. And another condition that from a parasite infection, and another condition caused by parasites, flatworms. Treatment with zinc supplements reportedly improved his growth and development. In the same study, in the case of a two-year-old girl with severe condition, also known as primary zinc malabsorption symptoms, she was given a drug for the parasites and placed on a lactose deficient synthetic diet, but didn't improve. Finding her serum zinc concentration to be extremely low, they gave her zinc. Now, quote, surprisingly, the skin lesions and gastrointestinal symptoms cleared after zinc supplementation. This 2-year-old get some zinc and it cleared up her symptoms. But check this out. When zinc was inadvertently omitted from the child's regimen, the child suffered a relapse. However, she again completely responded to oral zinc therapy. The authors attribute zinc deficiencies to be the sensitive diet that the patients received. The author, however, soon realized that zinc might have been fundamental to the prognosis of this rare inherited disorder, and that the clinical improvement reflection correction of the zinc status in the patients. This original observation was quickly confirmed in other patients with that conditions throughout the world. I mean, zinc is the second most mineral in the body. I think the first is calcium, and behind that we have more zinc in our body, and we can see why. But the lack of zinc contributes to the beginning stages of some of these major diseases. I mean, you got like pumpkin seeds, which is known to have zinc in it. Okay. Oysters is known to have zinc in it. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but authors of the feature study noted that copper deficiencies had a history of coinciding with neurological symptoms. In other male clinic studies in 2014, 9 of the 44 patients with celiac diseases also had neurological symptoms, leading researchers to attribute celiac as the cause. The findings are consistent with similar studies around the world, including the featured study. You got it, number 22 here. 1. A study in Italy on more than 1,000 celiac patients, adults and children older than 14 years of age, found that 50% of them had a shortage of iron, a blood cell protein containing iron, okay, and over 73% were low in folic, correlating these results with the degree of that various atopy. In Denmark, another study of 93 adults with celiac disease found that 30% of the patients were anemia, 40% were low in iron, 17 were deficient in B12, and 33% were low in vitamin D3, 20% of them low in folic, and 51 had a serum zinc deficiency. The third study, among 37 newly diagnosed adults participating in the Phoenix study, 32% of the patients were anemia, 37% had low folic, also known as low red blood cell, and 16% were low in vitamin B12, and 34% were low in iron. About zinc, you need it, but your body cannot make it. Zinc is the second most abundant trace mineral in the body. As important as zinc is, your body cannot store it. It must be consumed daily. It's essential for the proper function of over 100 enzymes in your body, relating to your brain, your bones, your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas, and muscle development. Zinc. Besides supporting your immune system, zinc is important for healing wounds and numerous other functions, including energy metabolism, hemoglobin production, carbon dioxide transport, prostaglandin function, synthesis of collagen, protein synthesis, and vitamin A metabolism. Several symptoms point to a zinc deficiency conditions, including low energy, nervousness, depression. The CNN, the constant negative news, give you enough to be depressed, and then you get nervous and you wear out your storehouse of energy and you have low energy. Impaired taste and smell. And people were suffering from, I can't smell anything, can't taste anything. It just may be a zinc deficiency. Problems adjusting to light. Skin rashes and acne. White spots in the fingernails. People think that we used to call them little moons. No, it's a zinc deficiency. Thinning hair and baldness. These are all symptoms of zinc deficiency. Slow wound healing. Frequent infections. Male infertility and anemia. All symptoms. It's like God telling you that something is wrong with your body. We didn't get an owner's manual about this when we were born. And we have all this research that's available, but they don't put it on the news, so you have to seek it out yourself. And those that's listening in is the ones who need it, and hopefully you can share that information with other folks. The National Institute of Health lists 22 of the highest sources of zinc absorbed from food, with 3 ounces of cooked oyster providing by far the greatest amount, with 74 milligrams, or 493% of the dietary reference intake, DRI. In the same amount, beef, chuck roast offer 47% of the DRI, and the Alaskan king crab nets 43% of the dietary reference intake. Okay, so you know vegetarians not eating none of that. Okay. If you However, if you're very low in zinc, supplementation may be a wiser course until your storage is inside your body rises to a sustainable level. Zinc deficiency is a worldwide problem, particularly in developing countries like the USA, mainly because many people generally ingest less than 10 milligrams per day. When zinc requirements for adult women are 8 to 12 milligrams per day, depending on your age and whether you are pregnant or lactating. And for men, is 11 milligrams per day. This zinc here, 1 milligram, gives you 7.5 milligrams per this 1 milliliter. So here, based on this, you would take at least 2 milligrams of droppings. That would give you 15. If you suspect you may be low, that would help build it up. How you find out if you're low or not, you got the symptoms. Or of course, you can always go to the doctor and he can do these tests. If your zinc is low, recover it quickly, because we zero in on the prevention of diseases. So okay, I'm learning as I'm sharing, okay, because this is it's so interesting to me, because it's talking about our gift that God gave us, this body. I mean, our spirit is going to live on, but our body, our meat suit, these is what it needs for it to function at peak level. And zinc, again, that's why I like the Ultimate Classic, because it has B12 and zinc and all these other nutrients in it. And then taking 1 milligram of this would just give me a boost. It is if a serving of oyster gonna give you over 490 milligrams. Surely, taking Ultimate Classic and this is not gonna be too much. It's just my way of thinking anyway. While there have been innumerable cases of gluten sensitivity mixed diagnosis, it is clear that if your zinc levels are deficient, raising them quickly is key to avoiding several of the physical problems associated with the condition. Even a mild zinc deficiency can seriously alter your immune system, and with it, your entire body. Zinc. Talking about a major step towards enhancing your immune system. Vegetarians are at a particular risk because of the absence of meat, which offers high amounts of bioavailable zinc. In addition, though vegetarians generally consume a lot of beans and whole grains, and both rises lectins, which while building zinc and slowing its absorption. Because few plants contain zinc and the absorption is often limited, vegetarians may need to consider taking 1.5 times the amount of suggested for adults. One study note the requirements for dietary zinc may be as much as 50% greater for vegetarians whose major food staples are grains and legumes. In addition, quote, if you are newly diagnosed celiac diseases, you would probably need to supplement with a higher amount of zinc until your levels are up and you are better absorbing nutrients again. Work with your nutritionist to determine how much you might need. Okay, folks. That is is from a cola. This neuroatopic condition occurs when your intestines villi, the microscopic finger-like tentacles that line your wall of your small intestines, erode away, leaving a virtually flat surface. How long does it take to make the villi grow back? 3 to 6 months. If you're older, it may take up to 2 years. The cause of this various atopy, when the body immune system overreacts to gluten foods. The villi absorbs vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients from the food you eat. If your villi are damaged, you can't get enough nutrients no matter how much you eat. And intolerance to cereal storages, proteins found in wheat, barley, rye, oats, hydrolyzed and tenderized vegetable protein. Any leaky gut, digestive enzymes support its structure to healing and rebuilding. The villi takes, before rebuilding the villi, take your enzymes. So we have 3 different kinds of enzymes at Healthwise. The one from Wayne is the Ultimate Plus, and you take it before your meals. Give your body a jump start to absorb the nutrients into your blood system, and it gives your GI tract a jump start on this digestion, making food easier to break down and the nutrients easier to assimilate. Another way is yellow stool caused by gluten. Okay, the colors in the stool has a story to tell. Here we talk about gluten. If your stool is yellow, that's an indication, another indication. Key supplements for healing the stomach lining or your gut is your probiotics. We have at Healthwise about 3 different kinds. One we've been carrying for over 30 years. It's a yellow and white bottle called Gyro Dolphins. Each pill gives you 3.4 billion sources of friendly bacteria. They recommend you get about 12 or 13. I always suggest people take 4 of those. Okay, if you get 3.4, that's what 14, a little under 14. So you got more than enough, because see, we're being attacked constantly with poisons in the air, in the water, and the food. But with this 5G, it's equivalent to Hiroshima bomb being dropped on the whole world. And that weakens your immune system. That 5G. Now, you can stop by Healthwise. We had this plug you can put on your cell phone in 5 minutes. It will stop your cell phone from putting out the electromagnetic field, and it has a 3-foot range to help you protect you against that fallout from the 5G. Now, this is studies that we have gotten from different scientists and lay people. So I'm just sharing that information with you. Another key nutrient to help rebuild the villi in your small intestines is the L-glutathione. Another one is vitamin D3. Helps reduce the inflammation and restore the intestinal lining from leaky gut. We even have a leaky gut formula at Healthwise. I thought I had it with me, but it's at home. My bottle, but we do have them at Healthwise. I just saw them yesterday when I was doing a little inventory. Food heals the gut. You know, you say food heals is in the Bible. All right. Now, what food heals the gut lining? Foods that promote the growth of healthy gut and bacteria include fruits, cultured dairy products, healthy fats, lean meats, okay, fermented foods like sauerkraut, no processed and refined junk food that destroys your system. Okay, and these are steps to heal your gut naturally. It's the probiotics, drinking water and tea, removing inflammatory foods, kiwi fruit. They say fall in love with it. Collagen. We have 3 different kinds. We got collagen from the marine, from the fish. We got collagen from the grass-fed cows, and we got vegetarian collagen. Okay, green grass juice. You got the stabilized greens. You got 2 super greens, and exercise. Zinc, copper, and iron. Man, time flies. I'm glad you get to listen in, because this was news to me. Some of this I knew, but that I'm constantly learning. I mean, to me, being a human on this planet, it's like a big schoolhouse. You're constantly learning. Okay. If you get to the point where you know it all, life ain't interesting to me. I mean, learning how our body works, putting the nutrients in it for it to work, sharing that information, they getting the nutrients in it, reporting how it's working for them, and they sharing nutrients. Then we don't have to get into the drugs, because I never heard of drugs healing, but I have heard of food healing. Well, guess who makes the food? God. Now, the food is only as good as the ground is grown on. In America, they don't nourish the soil. In Europe, they do. The food over there is got the nourishments in it because the ground that they grow the food is a lot healthier. So until they do in America, suggest you get to the Ultimate Classic. We get all those minerals and trace minerals. We gotta go, but give us a call at 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438. Come by and give us a visit Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7 at 3807 East 8 Mile, about 3 blocks west of Ryan, between Ryan and DeQuinta. Some people say between Taco Bell and Long John Silver, but we there. It's a sign on the building that says Healthwise. Look forward to seeing you and getting a hug. Fist bumps, but I love hugs, because 5 hugs a day is healing. Peace and love, y'all.